Welcome back, America. Byron York is with the Washington Examiner, senior political writer there, and a Fox News contributor. Byron, I would like to ask you, I just talked to Sarah Bedford about the Democrats are hell-bent on shuttering the government. In the aftermath of the murder of Charlie, this seems to me to be the stupidest thing in politics that I have seen in decades. What do you think?
That's an interesting observation because the everyday fights that constitute so much of government, and that's what this is, do look particularly petty in comparison to a huge life and death event that we've just witnessed. So yeah, it does look stupid, but I think they're going to continue to do it, in part because government really does have deadlines. These are actual arguments, and Congress has to do something, whether the atmosphere is tragic or not.
But here's my reasoning. One individual, as far as we know, murdered Charlie, but he was from the far left. The leader of the Democrats in the Senate, Schumer, is afraid of the left wing in his party. The left wing, which has erupted with vile, disgusting commentary online that we've all seen, and for whom the chief spokespeople are inarticulate at best and often ranting. Randy Weingarten's got a new book out about fascist-hating teachers. It just seems they haven't read the room at all right now.
No, they haven't. And, we've been having this debate for a while about the nature of political violence. And the one thing we've seen has been just complete denial on the left that there was political violence coming from the left, because they believe with all their hearts that MAGA is a violent, extremist, authoritarian movement, and that January 6th typifies MAGA, and that's what it's about. And they talked away the Butler assassination attempt on President Trump, in part because we still don't know enough about what Thomas Crooks, the shooter in that case, was doing and what he thought. And then they completely just throw away the other assassination attempt, the guy Roush, who in Florida pointed a gun through a fence, waiting for the president to walk in front of it, and who was completely, totally government issue resistance. So, and then now you have this assassination of Charlie Kirk for reasons that, if you read the charging documents, are very, very clear. This was
and you've got. I would recommend to you the Breaking History podcast by Eli Lake, because he does include January 6th and he does include other right-wing violence, but he walks through the shootings at Ascension Church, the shootings at the Christian school. It's disproportionately on the left. Facts are stubborn things. And I've had senator after senator say this week, this is not a problem on the right the way that is a problem on the left. And we know about January 6th. It was a riot. It was bad. It is not murder, and it wasn't murder. And therefore, I think they are really making. And I don't know if I want to stop them. The old saw is never stop your political opponent when they're destroying themselves. But shutting down the government right now seems to me to be self-destructive for Democrats. So I'm ambivalent about it, Byron. What do you think?
As you say, facts are stubborn things, but beliefs can be even more stubborn things.
True.
I mean, if you watch some of these panels on CNN, in which are just complete denial of the actual motive of Tyler Robinson, and then there's this kind of discussion of, maybe he was MAGA, or maybe he was a Groyper, or maybe he was a gamer. That was it. He was a gamer. No, actually he was in love. It's kind of a touching story. He was in love. I mean, they're just twisting themselves into pretzels to try to deny what is right in front of their face. By the way, in Tyler Robinson's own words. So beliefs can be even more stubborn than facts.
I've had a lot of guests, Byron York, say that this is going to have, Charlie's assassination is going to have a lasting and deep impact on political life in America and on faith life in America. Do you agree with that?
I always have to wait for a while on that, because I don't know. I'm not entirely clear. I mean, the thing that's been kind of interesting in a horrible way after his death was there are many of us who thought of him as kind of a more political leader as opposed to, say, a spiritual leader or even a cultural leader. Looked at what he did, for example, in getting out the vote in Arizona. I mean, the Trump campaign in 2024 kind of farmed out a lot of it to get out the vote to Turning Point action. And there were Republican and other political experts who said, man, this is crazy because Charlie Kirk and his crew do not know anything about getting out the vote. Obviously, they were wrong. He was right. They won. So they looked at him as a political figure. But clearly, after his death in such a violent and prominent way, and say this actually he was much more than that. He was leading a cultural movement that millions of young people felt they were part of. So I have to say I'm still kind of getting my hands around how big this is. So I can't really say how long I think it will last.
It's very big. And I had watched Charlie from the time he was 18, and we're colleagues, not friends, but colleagues. And he had become far more evangelical than he was a dozen plus years ago, and far more consistently. And I think that is causing quite a difficult reaction to square up. A last question. Schumer has stopped Michael Waltz from being at the GA this weekend. I'm just astonished by that, Byron. Do you think the Senate should stay there and do their work until they confirm? Waltz has come out of committee with bipartisan support twice now.
I know. Of course they should. But the Senate. Remember, Schumer has been completely stung by not trying to shut down the government the time before when he agreed to the basis of what became the big beautiful bill to not stop it because he didn't have the votes to do it anyway. And there were people on his side who said, no, you should throw your body in front of this, and he didn't do it. So he's been really, really nervous about, you mentioned this earlier in this conversation, really nervous about alienating the left side of his party.
Boy, the Democrats are on a path to obliteration. They can go the way of the Whigs. They keep this up. Byron York, always a pleasure. Follow him on X at Byron York. Read him in the Examiner. Watch him on Fox. Thank you, Byron. I'll be right back. America, stay tuned.